Okay, in this video, we're going to describe the general technology courses that are part of the BTech degree completion streams. So if you're in civil, manufacturing, energy, or software, this video is for you. My name is Mike Justison, and I'm a faculty member in the School of Engineering Practice and Technology, and I'm joined today by Alan McKenzie.
Hi, Mike.
And Alan is the program chair for the all of the Bachelor of Technology management courses that we call General Technology.
Yes.
Okay. So these courses are something that differentiates the Bachelor of Technology from other programs. How is it that we do that?
Well, it's interesting. When the programs were developed, the Bachelor of Technology, we went out to industry to meet with them and to find out where some of their gaps were. And they came back to us and suggested that people were highly qualified in a technical component, but missed the context of how that fits within a business environment.
Right.
Working with different departments such as operations and marketing or finance. So from that, we developed a number of management courses, or Gen Tech courses as we call them, to fit and fill that gap.
Okay.
So it fits that more appropriately.
Some of the courses that we teach in the Bachelor of Technology program are similar to programs in traditional engineering programs, but the Bachelor of Technology takes it much further. So we don't have just things like engineering economics or communications. We have a much wider range of management type courses than other programs do.
Yeah, when we looked at this, we wanted to give the students a good foundation in the business side of things and the management side of things. So it's kind of like an essential MBA, in another word. So we have 5 core courses that students take, and they can range from engineering economics to project management to finance. And then there are 6 elective courses that students can they have to choose 2 out of those. So it gives them flexibility in what their interest is, or the types of positions they may want to go into, or the industries that they're in that fully support that.
So there's still some flexibility in that the students can they must take a certain number of core Gen Tech courses, but they're also able to choose from another list of elective courses.
Absolutely. So the core courses, we try to run them on a more frequent basis, so they're available to the students throughout the whole academic year. And then some of the elective courses, we spread those out a little bit because they're not necessarily need to be offered every term. So students can pick when they need to take those particular courses.
Okay. And is there any kind of a strategy for when they should take particular courses and when they should take other courses? Or
That's a great question. I think the core courses are offered on such a regular basis that they can pick them almost any time that they feel it fits their schedule that way. But with the looking at the elective courses, it depends a lot on what their interest is and maybe their other workloads, trying to correspond that with their technical courses that they have to take. So they may shift those out, and they may only take one of those in an academic year.
Okay.
That way.
I mean, one of the things I think is important to note is something you mentioned about the courses being offered more frequently. Certainly the required courses are offered more frequently. They may be offered more frequently than certain technical courses. So if a student has a choice in a particular term between taking a required technical course or required Gen Tech course, it may be better for them to take that required technical course because that may only be offered once a year.
Yeah, if they're feeling that kind of constraint, absolutely, I would make that recommendation. The other thing they may run into down the road is that technical course may be offered at the same time as one of the Gen Tech courses that they were required to take.
Right.
So I would hate them to get lost in that constraint.
Right.
At the same time, if they're in a position where we see this happens more in the summer term, where they have a little bit more flexibility, they may be not taking as many technical courses, they might take a couple of Gen Tech courses and kind of speed up that process as well.
That sounds like a good strategy.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do we call them Gen Tech courses?
Well, there's an old story, but we won't get into the old story. But the real reason is the fact that, going back to industry again, is the idea is to link that or combine that with their technical training.
Okay.
So what we're really trying to do with our graduates is shape them into what we call T-shaped professionals.
Okay.
So think of a T, and the vertical axis is going into depth of their technical stream and all the details that go with that. And then the horizontal part of the T are the Gen Tech courses. So giving context in which they're trying to make those technical decisions. You know, I can't just, as a technical person, say, I've got all the money in the world and all the time in the world to put in this project. I've got constraints. What are those constraints in the sense of time? So I might be using project management and other resources, or it might be financial in nature. So I need to have an understanding of those constraints to add value to my employer.
You can really see from that explanation how the Gen Tech courses are really industry driven.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, one of the things we like to say, and certainly our employers speak back to this, is that we find our graduates are able to hit the ground running much faster. Mm-hmm. The other thing for any industry and employer is they're always looking at that ramp up of a new grad, their training and getting them ready. Well, this allows them to kind of up that notch a little bit more. So they are able to give back to that employer faster. So from an employer point of view, it's a higher return on investment.
So the last thing to ask about is what kind of recognition do the students receive for having taken these Gen Tech courses?
Well, overall in the program, they get their Bachelor of Technology degree from McMaster University, but they also, in working with our educational partner, they get a business management certificate from Mohawk College. So when they graduate, they get 2 academic credentials. So one representing most of their technical component, and the other one representing their management and business component.
Okay, so those are the academic
Yes.
rewards that they receive, but what about other certifications?
Well, one of the things is our program is accredited through the Canadian Institute of Management. So that means that students are able to meet the academic qualifications by the time they graduate. So all they need to do after that is to have 2 years of supervisory experience. And then they write to the national office, and there is also chapters across Canada, and showing a dossier of that experience and reference letters, and then they're able to get their certified in management designation. So any graduates that are interested in moving up in more of a supervisory or managerial role within their employer or at other employers, certainly we find within their first 10 years, this credential helps differentiate them in the marketplace that way. The other thing is, and that would be from a supervisory or management point of view, other students might find they'd like to take a technical discipline a little bit further. So project management, for instance, or quality. And again, all our courses are recognized by those various associations. So they can go down the road of those at the sort of the beginning components and get started in those designations. And so they're able to do that. And then that, of course, creates professional networking opportunities, allows them to continue their designation in those areas, and of course shows employers that they have an interest in that, and that helps them as well.
I think that's great. You know, we hear about Bachelor of Technology students going on to pursue masters in engineering, but we've also had students go on to do MBAs.
Yeah, some of them at the end of it, they feel that they really got into the management business side of it and how that corresponded with their technical training. So they decided to go on and pursue an MBA. And so they've done that both at McMaster and in other leading qualified educational institutions, both in Ontario and abroad.
Okay. Okay, Alan, I think that's a great overview of the Gen Tech programs.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, it's been a pleasure.